Lately, wild boars have been appearing in large numbers on the fields near my home and surrounding areas in Missouri. They've been rooting around and damaging the crops, causing everyone to lose sleep over it. As an experienced hunter, I couldn't just stand by and watch these pests run wild any longer. So, along with a few friends, we decided to set up an ambush on the grassland where the boars often gather to feed. The hunt began in a tense atmosphere, as our opponents were far from easy to deal with. As soon as dawn broke, we were already on the field. The wild boars were familiar with the way, and usually came here early in the day to forage. The whole team hid behind the earth mounds and waited for these destructive animals to appear. The silence was so deep that every small sound seemed amplified. I suddenly heard footsteps crunching on dry leaves, and just seconds later, a wild boar dashed out from the edge of the trees into meadow. I immediately took the chance, raised my rifle, and closely followed the running prey. The first shot was a bit hurried and missed, but I still managed to adjust in time and fired a second, accurate shot. The boar fell down instantly, lying motionless on the dew-covered grass. Next, I climbed up a high earth mound for a better view. From this position, I could see almost the entire field below, a big advantage if prey appeared from afar. Sure enough, in less than 10 minutes, another wild boar suddenly appeared from a dry bush about 30 meters away. I raised my rifle reflexively, but it ran too fast, making aiming difficult. Wild boars are big, but can run as fast as any animal. At that moment, I just squeezed the trigger by feel, but its speed and agility were beyond my expectations. I fixed my eyes on the dense bushes in front. There was no place to hide here, so I had to fight alone in silence and patience. Unexpectedly, two wild boars slowly walked out from afar. I held my breath, trying to aim very carefully. One shot, two shots. After several misses, one finally got hit. Before I could catch my breath, suddenly a gunshot rang out on the other side of the meadow. I guessed it was my friend Jackson. Although I was not sure about the situation there, I quickly got into a ready position. There it was. The boar was approaching me. The distance was close enough, so I didn't have to rush. Then a dry gunshot cracked. The boar was hit and fell down, struggling a few times before going still. Unlucky for it, just having escaped Jackson's shot, it fell straight into my sights. The hunt today was still not over. By early afternoon, I was still eager, carrying my rifle to scout around the area. This time, I went close to the forest edge. I couldn't take my eyes off the thick, dense bushes in front, and my instinct was right. Another wild boar appeared. Judging by its reflexes and speed, there was no time to think. I immediately raised my rifle, aimed, and pulled the trigger. It almost escaped, but in the end, I still won. After more than an hour wandering around the area, my muscles started to ache. I decided to stop by an open patch of land on the way home and end the hunt early. Hiding near the roadside, I heard dogs barking loudly from afar. Suddenly, a wild boar dashed into the open space. I raised my rifle, calmly waited for the right moment, then pulled the trigger. The first shot made the boar collapse and slide along the ground, but it still got up and ran. Without hesitation, I fired a second shot and watched the prey thrash from a distance. That shot ended today's hunt perfectly. Though tired, I felt very satisfied to have killed quite a few wild boars. Each one taken down means one less trouble for our local people. I took down my first wild hog right here in this forest 14 years ago. Back then, I was using my father's old rifle, hands trembling, missing the first 2 shots. And yet today, I'm back in the same place. The gear has changed. My experience has deepened. But the thrill of stepping into the woods, that stays exactly the same. The heavy rain 3 days ago had turned many forest roads into sticky mud bogs. But we had anticipated that, so the team moved in using a swamp buggy. While on the buggy, we took the chance to discuss strategy. The wind was blowing from the southeast, and in just about an hour, it could shift as the sun rose higher. Luckily, within the first 15 minutes, our target appeared. Nathaniel signaled to stop the vehicle, then calmly raised his rifle. The hog was only about 15 meters away, not a problem for him. A single, clean shot rang out. The target went down instantly. Right after that opening shot, we split up according to plan. I looped around downwind, taking cover behind a dense thicket that gave me a clear view ahead without revealing my position. The team formed a half-moon formation, closing in on a group of hogs peacefully foraging ahead of us. I raised my gun and squeezed the trigger. The hog dropped on the spot. About an hour later, we arrived at the trap site we'd set up the day before, a low-lying area thick with grass and shrubs, perfect for hogs to stop and feed. Just as we predicted, they were there. From a rocky outcrop overlooking the site, we saw the hogs nosing around the trap, unaware they were in our sights. A loud crack shattered the stillness. The spotted hog screamed, then quickly went limp. Just 10 minutes later, we reached the next ridge. As soon as we arrived, Nathaniel spotted a target. I sprinted to the opposite side to set up a blocking position. Downhill, funneled into a narrow slope. One clean shot. My bullet struck the shoulder. On our way back down the mountain, I unexpectedly spotted another hog. A dark blur shot across the trail. So fast, I didn't even have time to react. After a successful hunt, we returned with the spoils piled on the vehicle. The meat was divided into smaller portions. The shoulder and ribs were set aside for a morning barbecue in the garden. That's the end of the video. What did you think of today's hunt? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow our next intense chase.
Wild boars reproduce uncontrollably, devastate crops, and pose a serious threat to the local ecosystem. Faced with that reality, our hunting team was forced to deploy the most effective strategy, airborne pursuit by helicopter. Every flight is a battle, where speed, tactics, and reflexes must be pushed to the limit. There's no room for hesitation in this war. Once a target is locked, it must be taken down. Dawn breaks faintly over the horizon as we lift off. The helicopter gently vibrates as it carries us into the sky. Only a few minutes into the flight, we spot our first target. A herd of large, fat boars are charging ahead at breakneck speed. They zigzag constantly, but their hoof prints in the sand betray them, revealing every movement. No matter how many times they change direction, my rifle doesn't waver. Wherever they go, our helicopter follows close behind. One by one, the boars fall under a continuous rain of gunfire. Just as planned, not a single target is missed. As we advance into the grasslands and denser forests, the chopper continually adjusts its altitude with flexibility, giving us a clear vantage point. The moment I spot a herd of boars below, I steady my grip and unleash a rapid burst of gunfire. Though the helicopter sways slightly, we maintain our calm and precise aim. Most of the wild boars drop, though a few clever ones manage to escape in time. My God, they just keep coming. We fired countless rounds just to bring them down. It's hard to imagine the destruction this field would face if we didn't take them out. The number of boars on the field is overwhelming, forcing us to circle back several times to finish the job thoroughly. The withered corn rows after harvest blend into the dark color of the boars, making them hard to spot at a glance. The roar of the helicopter alerts them to danger, and they bolt at full speed. We use every second to lock on, take aim, and fire quickly. Not a single one escapes. Open terrain and sparse forest like this make it easier to pinpoint the boar's exact location. However, they no longer move in herds. They've scattered in all directions, reacting instantly to the roar of the helicopter above. A tense showdown unfolds. With precise, relentless shots, the boars are taken down one after another, quickly and efficiently. This hunt is not just a test of stamina, but a battle of wits, patience, and the ability to make split-second decisions. Dense forests are considered safe zones by the boars, places to hide and escape danger. So, we circle around, deliberately pushing them toward the forest's edge, then swiftly give chase. Let's see where they think they can run now. Before our icy muzzles, the wild boars are swiftly eliminated. Speeds up to 50 kilometers h and incredible agility, wild boars aren't easy target. The helicopter gives us the edge in visibility, but it still has to constantly adjust course to keep up with their zigzagging route. But this time, the hunting team triumphed. Even darting like black arrows, the boars couldn't escape our deadly shots. Skill, experience, and decisive action helped us complete the mission flawlessly. Activity, and it energizes us too. In just a few short minutes, an unknown number of wild boars are taken down in a rapid-fire sequence of shots. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.
Setting foot in the vast forests of the Pyrenees in France, I couldn't find a single moment of peace. Herds of wild boars rampaged relentlessly, tearing through the local farmers' agricultural land. This destruction had gone on for far too long, and I knew that only by confronting the problem head-on could the situation be brought under control. However, hunting wild boars here is no easy task. These animals are incredibly intelligent and know how to evade human pursuit. They can hide deep within dense thickets, turning the hunt into a challenge that demands precision, patience, and sometimes a bit of luck. As usual, the hunt began at dawn. The dense forest floor was covered in dry leaves, making it extremely difficult to track the wild boars. We had to split up and ambush from multiple directions, thoroughly sweeping each tree base and every patch of forest, leaving no corner unchecked. When a wild boar entered my line of sight, I immediately seized the opportunity, raised my gun, aimed carefully, and decisively pulled the trigger. One clean shot, and the boar collapsed on the spot. Our first trophy was in the bag. Though the start wasn't too bad, the lack of hunting dogs made it much harder to continue tracking more prey. After some discussion, we decided to move to a more open area, which would be better for observation and ambush. Before long, a small boar dashed down from the hilltop and entered our sight. I quickly raised my gun and fired. The first shot only wounded it, and in a panic, it rammed into a wooden post and kept running. Without hesitation, I fired several more rounds. Finally, one bullet hit a vital spot, and the animal collapsed at the foot of the hill. Around noon, I wandered along the hillside for over an hour, hoping to find new tracks. And finally, patience paid off. A herd of wild boars was quietly weaving through the thick bushes. My rule, when facing a herd, is always to aim for the alpha. With one decisive shot, the lead boar fell. While the rest of the herd was still stunned, I quickly shifted my aim and fired at the ones nearby. Ironically, just as I was feeling regret for a few missed shots, an unexpected happened. The lead boar started to crawl and then staggered down the slope. This was no time to give up, otherwise all the effort since morning would be in vain. and deep forests don't let anyone stay distracted for long. The next encounter came sooner than I expected. That's hunting for me. Sometimes it takes hours of patience just to wait for a single moment of confrontation. Other times, the prey appears suddenly without warning. If you're not calm and focused enough to react instantly, all you can do is helplessly watch it vanish back into the wild. Still, the hunt had to go on. By late afternoon, I hadn't encountered another herd. While sweeping near a trail, a lone wild boar emerged. Sensing danger, it bolted uphill. I tightened my grip on the gun, calculated its path, fired, but missed. Luck wasn't on my side this time. The sun had set, and we were walking along the trail back to our rendezvous point. Just when we thought the hunt would end in disappointment, one last chance presented itself. A suspicious rustling came from a dense bush near the roadside. I strained my ears and readied myself to shoot. The sound drew closer. A boar suddenly burst out of the underbrush, sprinting across the path. There was no time to think. I pulled the trigger immediately, but the boar managed to escape. I rushed over to check, only to find it had already vanished into the thick shrubs. At the end of the trip, we brought the wild boars we'd hunted back to the rendezvous point. Though the day didn't go exactly as hoped, no one was discouraged. Every hunt is another opportunity to gain experience. There were disappointments and regrets, but also lessons learned and resilience forged. What did you think of the hunt? Share your thoughts and comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow more thrilling chases.
Last week, a few friends and I scheduled a night hunting trip to support and contribute to the campaign to control the increasing number of wild boars. Everything was going well until things got out of hand. Do you want to know what happened to us? It was a normal hunting trip. We, a group of experienced hunters, were informed about a herd of giant wild boars raging near the western forest. These animals not only destroyed crops, but also posed a danger to local people. Our mission was to take down the most dangerous individuals and control the growth of the herd. We split into two groups. One group ambushed near the edge of forest. The other group moved slowly deeper inside, using bait to lure the herd out. The first noise came from the left. A huge herd suddenly rushed out from the bushes. They were less than 5 meters away from me. I immediately got into position, adjusted my scope, and in the dark, I quietly opened fire, taking down each target. But this was just the beginning. The sound of gunfire caused the herd of wild boars to become agitated. From all 4 directions, we heard growling and rapid footsteps. At this time, the long-range sniper tactic came into play. Each accurate shot took down an enemy. The bullets were not unlimited, and the number of wild boars was still too large. Night is the right time for wild boars to be active. They appear more and more. Taking advantage of the darkness, they sneak through the gaps in the fence to break into the farm. With their wild instincts, they constantly dig and turn over layers of soil. Recognizing the intrusion, we immediately deployed a combat plan. From hiding position, the whole team quickly took action, taking down each target, temporarily stopping the danger. However, to protect the farm, stronger measures are needed. If we continue to confront them head-on, we will soon be exhausted, and the wild boars are becoming more and more cunning. Therefore, the plan needs to be changed. This time, instead of lurking in the dark, we decided to use bait, a type of grain with an attractive scent, attracting the pigs to a certain location. As expected, the scent quickly spread in the air. Each wild boar smelled the food, crawled over one by one, and devoured it without realizing that they had fallen into a trap. Everything was carefully calculated. We waited patiently, seizing the perfect opportunity. When the right moment came, a series of accurate bullets rang out, and each target was taken down one by one. A battle without chasing, but the effect was beyond expectation. With the support of the silencer system, each shot rang out quietly, without causing any alarm. The other wild boars were still busy looking for the bait, completely unaware of the life and death battle that was taking place right before their eyes. Any target that entered the grain-covered area was quickly taken down. No more tense pursuits, no more exhausting captures. This time, they themselves had walked into the trap. Wild boars appeared everywhere. Monsters weighing no less than 150 kilograms were clearly visible through the scope. They were too engrossed in their search, losing their vigilance. And that was the opportunity to act. gently, quickly, decisively. A series of accurate bullets rang out silently, and in an instant, 3 giant wild boars fell one after another. A decisive blow, perfect to the last second. Adjusting the aim, about 50 meters away, another herd of wild boars had just appeared. Black shadows moved in the darkness, but that couldn't trouble us. Without hesitation, I fixed my aim on the largest boar in the herd, the powerful leader. A slow breath. Pull the trigger. The shot rang out. The leader of the wild boar herd collapsed. Immediately, the herd fell into a state of panic, running away in panic towards the deep forest. At least for a while, they would not dare to come near this area again. The final battle ended. In total, 30 wild boars were taken down, an impressive number, but also a warning about their uncontrolled proliferation. Do you feel excited about this hunting trip? Leave your comments in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to watch more dramatic hunts.